Welcome to Risky Conversations. And why? Because everything that's worthwhile is on the other side of a risky conversation. And I'm really happy to have my former neighbor and current friend, also a fellow executive coach, Rosey Singh. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yay! We literally used to live around the corner from each
I know.
other when I lived in Hudson Yards in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And Rosie is still, on the
Right
island
there.
of Manhattan. Still so
Yeah.
fancy.
Not quite, but yeah, I'm still here. I'm still
You're
here.
still here. And I moved across the river, but I've been following Rosie for a while, and she has an amazing executive coaching practice. And she writes about how to use AI better, how to use AI in a smart, strategic way for your career search, for your job search. And I thought we got to have Rosie come on to the podcast and tell us about all of it. And we were just having a quick conversation about her company's name. So,
Yes.
Rosie, maybe you can educate us, enlighten us. What is your company and what is the meaning behind its name?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's called Eunioa, and Eunioa means beautiful mind in Greek. And so, funny enough, speaking of AI, when I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to call this company, I used ChatGPT. I'm like, I set my parameters. I want one word. I want it to mean something. I don't remember the exact prompt that I'd used, but I wanted it to mean something beautiful or enlightened, something about us as something beautiful. I don't remember exactly what I had put in, but I had read like a bunch of names, and Eunoia was the one that came up. It's different, it's unique, but beautiful mind. I think like we all possess this. And that's really something that really speaks to me because I think that we all have our inner beauty. And, we don't always see it. We need coaches like you and I to sort of bring that inner beauty out to the forefront of our conversations and our dialogue. And I think that's what a coach does. But it's not that we don't have it ourselves. Right. So it's one of those things that I just kind of, the more I thought about it, the more I slept on it, the more people were like, it's confusing. And I don't know how are you going to say that? And,
How do you
you
spell
know,
it?
yeah, so that's the other thing. So it's Eunioia is the actual spelling. But one late fall night when I was kind of deciding that I wanted to buy this business and kind of get started, I was okay, tonight I'm gonna buy the website, I'm gonna buy the domain. Like this is it. Once I do this, there's no turning back. And I bought the wrong domain. So I bought Eunioa. I didn't see it. It was probably around 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And it's going to cost me about $1,000 to fix it, which I was telling you. So I won't fix it yet, but it makes for a great story, right? It makes for like the reality that we all make mistakes. Like there's none of us who are perfect, and sometimes we overlook certain things, but we move on and we tell it's part of who we are. It's part of our story. So right now it's part of my story, but yes, it is called Yanoya, spelled incorrectly. And I love it. It bothers me, but at the same time, there's still something beautiful about it.
My Korean name is spelled
Oh,
similarly.
is it?
My Korean name is Ji-eun, and the second syllable, eun, is supposed to be like when you say the word give un, right? It's
Hmm.
supposed to be
Hmm.
like un, but uh, I don't know who decided this, but when they transliterated my Korean name into alphabet, it got spelled E-U-N.
And
Right. So
yeah.
I was just looking at it. I'm like, oh, it's like my second syllable of my Korean name, but it's pronounced differently because my
Yeah.
Korean name it's pronounced Un, but
Yes.
your company is Eunoia, which is Greek
Yes.
for beautiful mind.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Love it. Very lovely.
Awesome.
So,
Thank
you
you.
know, before we talk about using AI for your career search, job search, whatever, since you and I are both executive coaches and we work with smart people who want to, further grow their careers, yesterday I was having a conversation with one of my clients, and she was telling me how when she mentioned to her boss that she works with an executive coach. Her boss said to her, "Oh, I use ChatGPT for that." In other words, she doesn't feel like she needs to work with a human.
Yeah.
She could get all the answers by typing things or, speaking
Mhm.
things to ChatGPT, right? And I want to hear your thoughts about that. Like, since you also mentioned ChatGPT, like I use ChatGPT often, every day. I think it's
Yeah.
brilliant. I just taught it to my mom, who's a
Amazing.
Korean immigrant who still speaks broken English. Her English is still really bad, even though we lived all our lives here. So I just showed her how she can use it to immediately translate English into Korean. Like she can take a photo of
Amazing.
things. Life changing. But I'm sorry, I digress. What do you think about this person, this executive who thought, you don't need a coach? You could ask ChatGPT.
So that's interesting. I think, yeah, you could ask ChatGPT, and I think that there's a function for ChatGPT, and I've used it, kind of act as my therapist when I need like an immediate relief, or like maybe I'm spiraling, or there's something going on in my head that I just need something, and there's nobody within close reach. But I don't think it's going to ever replace the human element, the human connection. And I think as humans, we all starve for it. We need it. The pandemic has definitely shown us how important it is for us to really be connected with each other, with one another. ChatGPT is great, right? It's making our life easier. It's doing things for us that we've never, I guess, or it would take us so much longer to do. But I don't think it's ever going to replace this connection. And I think the one thing is that ChatGPT is going to give you this sort of like this sort of cookie cutter, or like this standard template of what is going on. But our life isn't standard or cookie cutter. There's nuance. And the thing is with a coach is it's about the nuance that really brings us alive. I've had a coach since 2013. I don't do anything. I don't lose weight with it. I don't run a marathon. Like I do everything with a coach. And I think for me, I understand the value of it. And the one thing that ChatGPT cannot do, at least for now, is hold you accountable. Remember what you've said in your past dialogues and really say, well, you know what, Jamie? 3 weeks ago, you said you were going to do X. Have you done that? Where are you at? Right. And so it's kind of up to you to hold yourself accountable and say, hey, ChatGPT, I didn't do this. And you know what I mean? But that's not what, I mean, that's fine. Like if you are self-aware enough and you have that, but if you forget, or you need that accountability to push yourself, because these risky conversations we're having between you and I today, this is fantastic, but the real conversations happen in the workplace that are risky, that hurt, and they're filled with fear. And so we have these conversations, but we need someone to say, hey, did you actually have that conversation? How did it go?
Yeah.
Right? And if you're filled with doubt and if you're filled with fear, your coach is going to say, let's celebrate what you won. Let's take a moment. You did it. It was so scary. I knew exactly, and all of those human elements and sentiments and emotions that come alive, your coach is going to bring that out in you, not some AI machine, right? And so, yes, there's a purpose for it. And yes, it could be a quick fix, but I don't think it's going to ever replace us as humans, because we all have a heart, and that heart
Yeah.
speaks to each other's heart. And so that's at least my view on it. And just like you, I use it all the time. I've got actually multiple different AI tools that I use, so just depending on what I'm looking for. It's not just ChatGPT. And I love it, but it's never going to replace my friends. It's never going to replace my coach. It's
Yes,
just
and the
not going to do
human
it.
element, right? In fact, that's a real thing, like being able to make eye contact or speak,
Mhm.
in real time with another human being. And neuroscientists lets us know, in fact, there's a whole institute behind this, the heart. I think it's called the Heart Brain Institute. Like when you are in the presence of another human being, or even if
Yeah.
you're talking with them or on Zoom call with them, like our um, heart and brain waves
Mhm.
can can become entrained with each other. Like we
Mhm.
create this frequency
Hmm.
right? That we all sort of, well, I guess entrain is the right verb, entrain into, we sort of we create a rhythm. No, that rhythm is not the right word, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I
Like
do. I
I'm trying
do.
to
Yeah.
describe like that very subtle, nuanced something
Hmm.
like in the air, something that is created in the
Yeah.
space between people
Yeah.
that can't quite be replaced by all the algorithms. And I agree with you. I think, AI is brilliant when used well. Like in my mind, AI is great for everything, all the knowledge that exists on the internet from the past,
Yes.
right?
Yes. That's exactly it, right?
Yeah, from the past. But when we work with coaches, when we work with human beings, like we think about future things that have not happened in the past. Yes, AI can hallucinate, but like when humans dream and when human can daydream or imagine a different future, that's a completely different kind of intelligence that we're using. It's not just our, cognitive intelligence, it's our somatic intelligence, it's our subconscious, it's our interoceptive intelligence, it's our emotional intelligence, all these
Hmm.
different levels of human intelligences that AI cannot quite replace because it doesn't have a body, it doesn't have a nervous system, right? It doesn't
Yes.
have humanity. It can fake it, but
Yeah.
it's not quite real. So,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Um, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about, your journey, Rosey. Like, maybe you can tell us, how you became an executive coach who utilizes AI and where. I'm sorry, I'm like blanking all of a sudden. Every once in a while, my perimenopause brain is like, "Ding," right? Maybe you can give us a little quick overview of your journey so far that has led to you becoming the founder of Unioa.
Yeah. So I think if anybody who's ever met me in the past, nobody's surprised that this is the route that I've taken. And I think I was the last one to figure this one out. I know I've always wanted to be my own boss, and I know that there was always this curiosity about what it felt like. I was one of the fortunate but also unfortunate people that I've had a series of bad bosses. And when I mean bad, I mean horribly bad, arrogant, um, maybe even borderline incompetent. And it kind of got to a point where, or like, and just values were being misaligned. And look, I've always, I've been in leadership positions, I've been in HR positions my whole life. And the reason that I was in those positions from my perspective was because I love having a heart and I love caring about people and I love showing them that their voice matters, that their concerns are of the utmost importance. Because it's one of the things that I was missing when I was speaking to my HR leaders or my managers. They were so self-serving and they didn't care about me and my growth and my development. And I was like, I don't want to be that. And so I really wanted to be the change that I needed and that I wanted to see in the world. And that was really one of the things that I took with me because I always say I'm one of the worst HR leaders. And I say that because when I looked at the HR leaders that I had the privilege or I don't know, misfortune of working with, I hated them. They only believed it for they believed in the organization. They stood for the organization, right? And they wouldn't, and there's a way to stand for the organization and protect the organization but without losing the employee. And I knew that even when I was, in my 20s, that was possible, but you just had to stretch yourself a little bit. And yes, you don't want to, bite the hand that feeds you, so you want to be good to the organization, but there's, your client is the employee. And so when I, tried my best, and I'm sure I didn't get it 100%, but my goal was always to listen with intent to my employees and to really be part of that. And so I say that facetiously, right, that I'm a bad HR person because I was actually for the employee and less about the organization. It wasn't that I wasn't about the organization. I understood we need to have good employees, engaged individuals, but they were the heart and soul of our organization that moved us forward. And so all those things kind of coming together and then realizing that, you know what, I don't want another bad boss. I don't want to be told by another man that this is how it needs to be done. I'm like, I've done it. I'm 43 years old. This is like Please stop telling me how to do my job. If you want to do it yourself, you absolutely can. I will get out of your way. And so I did. I left my last position. I took some time to think about what I wanted to do. I live in New York City. Let me go enjoy the city in the summer. And then I just got to the point where I didn't want to. I was interviewing for positions and I was like, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it's resonating. And so I got to the point, and I've been a coach, right? Like I said, I've had a coach, I've been a coach. My job as an HR leader was always coaching my executive leaders. Here's the situation, here's how to handle the employee, here's how to do it. What does it mean to come across as a bully? Like I remember I had one of my leaders who was there's an allegation against her that she was bullying her team. So what did that look like? And so could that be was a truth to what the employees were saying? So I've been coaching for years, and so it just made sense. And I think the last thing that I'd say, I wanted to go one step further. I realized that most of us are really busy individuals. And so what I wanted to do was not only just be an executive coach to help you with your career journey, but I'll do the work for you. Like I'll apply for the jobs. I'll customize your resume. I'll customize your resume for each job and I'll hit the apply button for you. Like I'll do those things. So I wanted to go one step further because what I wanted to do was really alleviate that stress because I hate applying for jobs. Personally, I still do. But it's easier for me to do it for you as my coachee versus me doing it for myself, right? It's kind of one of those things.
Fascinating. So almost like a concierge service.
Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yes. Or
And
a
thank
career matchmaker.
career matchmaker. I love that. So every executive coach is different.
Mhm,
Everyone is entitled to shape their coaching practice any way they
mhm.
like. That's why I also chose to be a coach. So I don't do the kind of work that Rosie does. Like I'm not a concierge. I'm not a career matchmaker. I really work with people, mostly women, and help them improve their self-confidence, self-advocacy, like negotiation muscle or executive leadership presence. But this is like what you're offering is definitely like a unique thing,
Mhm.
right? You'll literally like hit the apply button for your
Yes.
coachees, for your clients. Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe you can tell us more about, how to use AI better. You wrote a great LinkedIn article on this topic, and as soon as I read it, I'm like, Rosie, we got to talk about this on the podcast because I think it was so um timely and useful. We all know how to use ChatGPT. I mean, I even taught it to my mother, who
Yeah.
still, she's like nearly in her 70s, and she still speaks broken English. And I just showed her here. You take a picture with your iPad, you upload it to ChatGPT, and you ask it to translate for you. And now she has a real time simultaneous translator. It's
That's
a
fantastic.
game changer for her. But
Yeah.
um, uh, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. Tell us about how to use ChatGPT better, not just like ask it to write a resume for you, but
Mhm.
how to be more um, specific and thoughtful with it.
Yeah. So look, I think anybody who's denying the chance to learn ChatGPT, like I think they're doing themselves a disservice, right? I think the world is going this way and we can't stop it. So I do have some friends who are in our age group and they're like, no, I will never. And I'm like, don't do that to yourself, right? Like this is it's only a tool, um, and it will give you what you need, provided you give it what it needs,
Right.
right? So the quality of the input will yield the quality of the output. So when I talk about like resumes or whatever, I don't want you to just feed the resume and your job description and say, write me a resume that matches this job description. One, because hiring managers have written that job description so that they see right through it. They're like, oh, this guy just copied and pasted the job description into his resume, right? That's not what you want. What you want to do is weave those things methodically, strategically, the keywords, the buzzwords, the action items, deliverables, KPIs within your resume. How do you do that? So it's about really taking a step back and saying, okay, what do I need to feed it? I need to give it enough information. So, past projects, past performance reviews, maybe filling out um, a document that says, okay, here's the kind of things that I've done. They don't have to be in sequence. They don't even have to make like a lot of sense. um they should make some sense, but like I think ChatGPT or any AI tool will have the ability to sift through all of that information and then give you something. Now the second thing is I tell people is do not do a please build me a resume using all of this information. No, that's wrong. Like, let's build it out section by section. And the reason why I say that is like the section by section means one, you can control what's being said. You can edit it in real time and you can make sure that it flows, right? And so we really want to make sure, like, I want to have a professional summary. Well, what's the goal of this professional summary? Your professional summary is not going to say the same thing as your bullets in your professional experience, right? Like, you want to summarize. Well, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to convey to a hiring manager that I want to be a marketing professional. I am a marketing professional with 15 years of experience, blah, blah. And so you really want to do that. So you do it section by section, bit by bit. Like these things are all great, but you've got to take your time. And I actually, the funny thing is I went on this like a webinar once. I was like, let me show you how to build a resume using ChatGPT. And the whole time I thought I was dying. I was like, no, no, there's like 55 people on this webinar watching this guy build a resume using ChatGPT. And he's doing it all wrong. Like these are generic, empty, often overinflated bullet points
Hmm.
that mean nothing.
Hmm. So then how do you I have so many questions. I guess the first question I want to ask is, what do you think about the other tools that exist on the market? Like, take for example, I've heard that there is a like cover letter. I forget exactly what it was, but I think I mentioned it in a previous episode. There are like AI apps that just exist for writing cover letters. There's like
Resi,
res.io. Yeah,
Resi or
Resi.
something. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And so it's not ChatGPT, but it might use, the ChatGPT algorithm or elements of it.
Yeah.
And they say, they can help you build a resume in just a few minutes. All you have to do is click a button. Like, have you experimented with some of those tools that are
No, I
out there?
haven't. No, I
Mm.
haven't. No, I'm um a little bit old school from that perspective. Like I actually use Claude. I think Claude is the better tool for writing copy. I think ChatGPT has its function and I think it really but I haven't played with Resi. I don't yeah, I mean maybe it's worth my time to see what it's all about. And so I don't really want to cast judgment on what it is. I think my only concern is I don't want to read a resume that is empty. What I mean by that is like they have this like
But wait, I think
inc
we should give it a little bit more context because when you say that, you're speaking from the perspective of somebody who has been an HR executive. You
yes,
you were the person who were reviewing hundreds, if not thousands of resumes to
resumes. Yes.
fill, yeah, to
Hmm.
fill executive positions at your organization, when you did work inside
Yeah.
organizations, right? So you're speaking from experience. Like I can tell when somebody has just like copy and pasted something off the internet, and I can tell when it's the real deal. It's like it's really a living testament to somebody's actual journey, right? And it tells a
Yes.
narrative that is
Yes.
cohesive.
Yes. And a narrative that you can speak to in an interview, right? What's the purpose of a resume? It's something that you bring into the job application that hopefully yields you an interview. And if you can't speak to it when you're being asked about it, then what purpose is it actually serving? And so what I find that it does is, like I said, it either over or under inflates your experience. And you kind of sound disconnected from what you've actually written in your resume. And so that's the hard part. The other part of it, I think, is that it's like you read the bullet and it's like, so what? What does that mean? Increased
Mm,
sales by 30%. How? Is
mm,
30% the right number? Was the goal 75? Did you start at zero? And so you
mm,
just did you make $30 and you made 30%? So there's this like, it's missing context. And yes, okay, I've been a hiring manager. I've been an HR manager. I've been a recruiter. So yes, I see this, but my hiring managers were just as savvy because they knew what they were looking for in their specific field.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to ask these, they're going to read this, like, this seems really generic.
And you don't want to come off as generic when you're competing against like thousands of people who are applying to a job.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I mean, I would post a position and overnight I would get 500 resumes. Now, mind you, most of them were useless. And I don't mean that they are useless. It's just they were applying for roles that they really had no experience, or at least if they have experience, they haven't tailored it to, like I'm an office assistant and I'm trying to apply for a marketing role. Well, you've never done any marketing, and this is not an entry level position, right?
Mm.
That's what I mean. But I'm just like, so you would get a lot of these where they're out in left field and they're trying to apply for what it seems like is any role that comes their way because they're so desperate for a job. So there's no, we want to tell a story like you just said. It's so beautifully put the way you said it. We want to tell a story about what has my journey been? Where do I come from? What have I accomplished? What am I proud of?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what I want to lead with on the resume. And the unfortunate part is that these AI tools, again, don't understand nuance. They're
Mm.
not there yet. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say no, but at this moment in time, you have to give it nuance.
Mm-hmm.
And all it does is it puts it into English, right? Like, it's not even like it understands the nuance. It just is able to then write it back out in copy that you can put into your resume.
I just learned this from one of my clients. You can, she uses AI a lot. She's also in marketing, and she said, you tell ChatGPT to give you the prompts
Oh,
to
yeah.
give back to ChatGPT. So
Yeah.
tell it what you want to achieve, and then ask it, what prompt should I give you for me to
Hmm.
achieve this outcome?
Hmm.
And then you get
Yeah.
a whole like long line of like prompts, and you're like, oh, this is brilliant. Now my job is a lot more easier. Or I can tweak the prompts as I need, or I can pick and
Yeah.
choose. Let me ask you another question. Since you were a recruiter and you did review thousands of resumes, is it true that on average, recruiters spend about 18 seconds on a resume?
It's way too long.
It's
It's way, I
way
don't,
too long. Tell
no,
me
I'm
more.
not giving you 18 seconds on your resume unless it's worth it. So I think the average, from what I've been told, is six to 8 seconds. Okay. So we're really
Wow.
like, you scan from top to bottom. What are you looking for? Keywords, job titles, company names, right? And so that's pretty much, it's going to take me maybe even 4 seconds, right? If you haven't, I know exactly what I'm looking for, so I'm going to scan it really quickly to see if you've got that. So just as an example, let's just take that like a typical like HR manager, right? So I'm going to look at, do you have any HR experience, recruitment, talent acquisition, benefits, employee relations? Like those words will pop out to me, and it will only take me a few seconds to see that. Have you held a position, maybe as an HR coordinator, or anything like any junior titles or the same title that I'm looking for? And if you do, I will stop and then give you those 18 seconds.
Got it. Okay. So, wow, you got to make an impression in about 4 seconds.
You do.
So,
And there's a
yeah.
way to do that. There's a way to do that.
Yeah. Um, And what are your thoughts about application tracking systems? Because my understanding is that organizations, mid to large
Hmm.
organizations, use ATS, application
Hmm.
tracking systems, and
Yep.
application tracking systems are also AI.
Yes.
So tell us more about
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So the goal of those is, again, it's humanly impossible, especially with the amount of work that corporate America gives us, to review 500 resumes. Okay. So what we needed to do, get $500, 500 resumes for a position. I have one position to fill. So what AI is going to do is scan your resume versus a job description and say, hey, these are the 15 to 25 people I think deserve a first glance by you. So it'll push you to the top and push the rest of the people to the bottom, right? So that sort of office admin assistant applying for a marketing manager role, like there's no keywords that would suggest that this person is a marketing manager. And it's because they haven't, and again, it's not because they don't have the experience. They haven't written a resume that speaks to that experience, right? So maybe they do have it, but so it will deprioritize those resumes and prioritize the resumes that have marketing and social media and graphic design, like the words that we're looking for. it's a zero and one thing, right? Like with algorithms, zeros and ones. And so it's actually just looking for keywords. And so it doesn't mean that it means anything, but it's going to scan it for at least a certain amount of percentage of the words on the resume match the job
Got it.
description.
So
Okay.
that's why it's really savvy to use both AI and your human mind because
Yes.
like the AI using the AI to like optimize for keywords will help you get through the ATS, but then really using your mind, human mind to
Hmm.
ensure that the narrative makes sense and it's coherent and cohesive, right? And it provides the right context for your proud achievements. That's for the 18 seconds that you earn when the
Yes.
someone like Rosey is actually looking at the resume and saying, yes, let's interview this person.
Yeah, you can't write the resume for one or the other. You have to write it for both, right? So the
Okay.
ATS, well, so I always say three people. So,
Mm,
or three things, right? So the ATS system, the
mhm.
recruiter like me. So I am not a marketing specialist, but my hiring manager is a marketing specialist. So what happens with the hiring manager, he or she gives me a list of here's what I'm looking for. Here's the keywords, here's the skill sets, here are the kind of positions I think that they should have held before. I don't want someone who hasn't held these positions. So they give me like a bucket full of words that I'm looking for. I don't actually know what the HR, the marketing manager is going to do on a day-to-day basis. So I'm just going to use whatever information that's been given to me, but I'm not an expert, and I'm going to be the gatekeeper. And you have to read it. I have to read it, be able to understand it. So layman's terms, right? So like somebody who
Mm,
doesn't know has to be able to read it in the same breath. Then I pass it on to the hiring manager. Hey, look at Jamie's resume. Jamie looks like she's got a great set of experience that you would be great. So then the hiring manager, who is a subject matter expert, who knows what he or she is looking for, like they need to then read the resume and say, oh yeah, I really like what Jamie's got going on. I'm interested. Let's call her in. Right. So
right.
it's not that hard. It sounds like I'm not trying to make it complicated. It's actually very simple. And there's very easy tips and tricks that you can do, but you do have to speak to all three because you have three essential gatekeepers that are keeping you away from interviewing with this company.
Got it. And so here's what I'm learning. First of all, Rosie provides an excellent concierge service, so she'll help you optimize your resume, write your application, and even hit submit for you. And number two, like you don't want your resume to be generic. You don't want it to sound like you just copied and pasted something off the
Yeah.
ChatGPT or Claude or what Resi or whatever, because people
Yeah.
can tell. It's
Yes.
easy to tell. And number
Yes.
three, you want to be able to tell a narrative. Every section, every line has to be well thought out because
Hmm.
number one, you want to incorporate keywords so that it passes the ATS.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
two, it's got to be readable by someone who is not familiar with your industry, layman's terms. That's very important. Right. It has
Hmm.
to be in layman's terms.
Yeah.
So anyone reads it, they're like, oh yeah, this person they're probably competent and reliable and
Yes.
diligent. And then you also need it to be specific enough so that the industry specialist can be like, yeah, we want this person in for an
Yes.
interview. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's art and it's science.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah. So let me ask you something that feels kind of risky right now. We're recording this in early August 2025. And just last week, we had the jobless claims numbers published in the US,
Mm.
and the numbers were worse than previously reported. And the person who reported these numbers got fired by the US president because we have a US president who, you know what? Let's not go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's
The
not.
US president is not known to be a rational person. So with that in mind, I also have been talking with people, some of my clients are getting job opportunities from abroad. Like
Oh.
people are getting hired not in the US. And this is just small anecdotal evidence from my direct experience with my clients. My clients were getting jobs, are getting hired either by, companies that are abroad or by billionaires.
Nice.
Yeah. And I've also talked to people who've sent out like 150 applications and gotten
Yeah.
zero, and like highly qualified, like,
Mhm.
really good professionals just getting nada, right?
Nothing.
And
Yes.
so I'm curious, what are you noticing for you?
So I'm not surprised. So I'll tell you a really funny story. So I started my newsletter and I sent it out to a list of people, and somehow I actually got a friend, or actually somebody who had interviewed me in the past. And she actually lives out in the Netherlands, and she's like, "Hey, thanks so much for including this. Actually, the job market in the Europe is not as bad as the US. Ha ha ha." So,
Mm,
and I say so I think they're listening and they're looking at what's happening here and they're laughing at us in some ways. So I'm not surprised that people are getting jobs outside of the US. I think is fantastic. And I think at the end of the day, like getting a job, for these companies, like wherever it may be, if it pays the bills and you're happy and you like it, why not? And Europeans, we know particularly, they just have a better work-life balance structure than
mm-hmm,
we do in the US.
mm-hmm.
So I love that. I think what I've been noticing is, yeah, more and more people are um, losing their jobs or they're feeling job insecurity. They don't
Yeah.
know where they're going to be. I've had one client recently, he's just like, I have a job, I have a paycheck, I love this place, but I don't think we're going to survive. I don't think we're going to survive the tariffs. I need to get out. And so
Mm,
he's like, he wants to jump ship before the ship sinks on its own.
yeah.
And I don't know if it will, I don't know enough about the organization, but it's a choice that he's making for himself and his family. I encourage that because I think we all have to be true to ourselves. So I think, people are getting scared. But I think what's happening right now, at least in August of 2025, is yes, the job numbers are slowing, but there's still ample opportunity.
Where are the ample opportunities from your perspective?
Um, I think the big cities are still busy, right? I think like New York City is still busy, Washington, D.C. is still busy, San Francisco, LA, Chicago, Boston. Like I think those places are still like the economy is still booming. We haven't hit a recession, like knock on wood, right? So far we're still going through. So I think the remote jobs are getting less and less every day.
Mm,
So I don't think that the remote opportunities are as fruitful as they used to be.
mm,
But I think it's depending on the industry, because like I think Salesforce has finally lifted their hiring freeze and they're now hiring again. And I think a lot
mm,
of other organizations are following suit. So there's a slow upward trend.
mhm,
I think, I had a friend very early on in this new administration who lost her job because of the Doge funding
mhm,
cuts. And one thing she said to me, which I was really proud of, was a friend and a client of mine who said was like, at least I'm in the first batch of people,
mm,
right? Because that means that there's not that many of us looking for jobs. I know that I'm going to find something
mm,
pretty quickly. And it's been taking, it takes most of my clients on average 4 to 6 months to actually land a role. So they
mm.
are actually unemployed for that period of time.
Yeah, I want
And
to hear
if they are
some.
employed,
Yeah, I want to hear some like winning case studies. I want to hear some
hmm,
amazing winning case studies from
yeah,
you. But as I was listening to this, I have been also having conversations with my clients who just tell me like it is, and they say, some of my clients work for big companies that they're like, yeah, AI is replacing jobs, right? We
yeah,
will lose jobs to
we
AI,
will.
right? And so that, the irony of this conversation
Yeah,
that we're
yeah,
having
yeah,
right now is like, how do we utilize AI to get jobs while also at the same time AI is taking jobs away, or reducing the number of jobs, at least it seems, in the
yeah,
US right now. So um I mean, what comes to my mind is, yes, AI is not going away, and so we can't keep like pushing it away, pretending like it's not here.
yeah.
I think that's going to be a dangerous game. Like we can learn to adapt with it or learn to engineer it. And like AI engineers, that's a high demand job.
Hmm.
I'm seeing where there are job growth, like therapists are in big demand.
Oh, yes.
therapists are in big demand.
Hmm.
Also, I have clients who work in accounting, corporate services, and their
Hmm.
jobs are in big demand.
And the blue collar, right? Like
mm,
AI can't fix your toilet.
right,
So
right.
there's definitely, look, I think technology has always disrupted the workforce and then
Yeah,
it settles, right? Like we've
yeah.
gone through this. I remember and I was really young, but I remember my parents and my grandparents freaking out because I used to work at the bank. But like, even my family who did work at the bank, when the bank machine came out,
Mm,
we're gonna lose jobs because of the bank
mm,
machine. Did we? Yes, absolutely. I was actually part of a massive program where we not necessarily the bank machines so much because this was like 2013 I think, but online banking and that sort of stuff, we were really focusing on not having as many people in
mm-hmm,
like as many tellers especially, but more
mm-hmm,
like banking advisors that could really advise on everything and also
mm-hmm,
withdraw cash for you if you needed it. And that was really because of this push that we had this technology that we wanted our clients to stop using those old passbooks where you would like print your
yeah.
balance. Like we wanted to get away from that, and we wanted to get really them using our online banking tools and platform
Mm-hmm,
to do their day-to-day banking stuff. So yeah, it definitely did. But what happened, there always is a little bit of a correction. And the correction comes from the people who learn the technology, who know how to adapt to it, then are reintroduced back into like we need to learn AI. We need to understand that we may not be an AI engineer. I have no desire to ever be an AI engineer, but you can't tell me that I don't know how to use AI. I
mm,
use AI on a day-to-day basis. And I tell my clients, I need you to take a class, learn prompt engineering, right? That's the term. So
mm,
learn prompt engineering, learn how to write a good prompt, learn how to use the various AI tools to code. Because one of the things like Claude in particular, we won't need developers anymore. Because I
mm.
actually built a tool using Claude. I
Hmm.
don't have any background in
What was the tool
software.
that you built?
It's an ATS scanner. I mean, it's not perfect yet, so I'm still refining it,
Wow.
but I actually have it like maybe 75-80% of the way there. It'll scan your resume and the job description and tell and give you a score of how much your your resume is weighted towards that job description. And will you pass that
That's really
ATS?
cool.
Yeah, and I built that just using an AI tool. And so I
Oh.
don't need a developer anymore. I don't need to pay somebody
Mm,
$150,000 to develop this tool. I can do
mm,
this myself. I mean, it's not easy. It's not
mm,
difficult by any stretch, but I mean, it took me being stubborn and bullheaded and saying, I'm gonna get this. Because I heard this on a
mm,
podcast where like Claude is fantastic for building tools. And so, yeah, but like again, if you're refusing to accept that this is our new reality, you are going to get left behind.
mm.
And
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that in any softer way, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It really does because some of us are just exhausted. We're burnt out. I don't want to learn another thing.
Yeah. And I use AI quite a bit, if I want to write copy. And
Hmm.
I still want my copy to read like a human being. I still want my copy to
Hmm.
tell human, like real stories from my life, from, real case studies. But
Yeah.
like, it's not just because English is my second language. Writing copy takes time. And
Yes, it
I
does.
much rather spend more time coaching my clients and
Hmm.
improving my coaching
Hmm.
skills, right? And helping
Yeah.
my clients generate results faster than spending like 3 hours writing a five
Yeah.
paragraph post, which I have
Yes.
done in the past. And so I just become like, you know what? It's a tool. I'm going to use it. It makes me more effective and like, setting up forms. Like it's great. So having said all that, before we wrap up, like I'd love to hear you like tell us what are some of your proudest coaching outcomes.
Oh, where do I start? So I think one of the ones I talk about the most is she's a former colleague of mine, turned friend, turned client. One of my first few coaching clients was like, I've worked with you. I know exactly what you're about, and I can't wait. And I want to support you. So I was like, I loved it, and I love what she is to me as an individual and another like friend in my life. But she was in this position, and she hated it. Bad boss, outdated practices, was only making $80,000, a mother of two. She's like, it's not doing anything for me, and I really want to be a director. Like I really want to I want to break that ceiling. And as a woman of color, I watch all of my white counterparts are all getting promoted to VP,
Mm,
and these like really awesome positions, or it seems like at least titles. I don't know about positions, but titles. And I'm still sitting here at a senior manager, and I can't seem to break through this glass ceiling. And so I had redone her resume. She applied for this position that she was almost like tapped on the shoulder for. So it was almost like a shoe-in that she was going to get this interview. But she had
mm,
interviewed a year before for this position and didn't get it. And so
mm.
the stakes were higher this time because the manager did really like her, but somebody beat her in the interview process. And so she was like, I'm not taking this chance, coach me. And we went through her insecurities, her fears, framing like, how do you feel inside? Like, are you giving out positive energy and vibes, or are you stuck in this like this rut of like, I don't know if I can do it. Well, last time I
Or
didn't
it
get
didn't
it.
work
You know
out
what?
last
It
time,
didn't
so it's
exactly,
not going to
right?
work out again. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that we spent hours. And another thing was like, the recruiter had sent her like a couple of different wonky emails, and she's like, Rosie, how do I respond to this? So it was really nice for her to have a person to bounce back ideas from.
Mm.
And anyways, long story short, obviously she's a success story. She went from 80K to $170,000, being a
Whoa.
director. Yes, right? She negotiated all that on her own. She's so happy. She has this massive amount of responsibility, but nothing that she's not prepared for. They love her because she came from an organization that was
Yeah.
very wealthy and rich in processes. And now she's bringing all of this knowledge to this smaller organization, and she's getting paid so much more.
Wow.
And they
That's
just
a great
love,
success story.
she loves it. She's really,
Yeah.
really happy. And she's happy that she believed in herself and she
Yeah.
did take this chance and didn't let herself be held back by that one opportunity where she didn't make it in that interview. Because she was actually holding on to that story. And I was like, I need you to let it go for 45 minutes. I'm like, just 45 minutes. You need to fake it till you make it. But like, there wasn't any faking. She
Yeah.
had everything inside of her to get
Yes.
that job. And now
Yes, that's
she's
a
killing
sign of
it.
a great coach. That's a sign of a great coach, like coaches who help bring out what's already inside of you.
Yes, yes.
So it's not like, oh, you have to go do a bunch of new things and make so much more
No,
effort when you're already burnt out and tired. It's like, no, it's already inside of you. And the coach will help you reconnect with that
absolutely.
resource that's already inside of you. Beautiful story. Where can
Yes.
people go to learn more about Eunoia?
So my website, spelled incorrectly, is Eunioa, EUNIOA.io. Again, that's the spelling for now, and then when I'm able to fix it, I absolutely will. But or my LinkedIn, I'm Rosey Singh, Rosey, last name Singh, Singh. My LinkedIn, I post all sorts of stuff, articles, my newsletter, daily little things that I think about, conversations I have with clients that, spark something within me that I think is worth of sharing. So even if you're just looking for a little bit of a tip and a trick, it's all there.
Excellent. Excellent. I will link to her website, her LinkedIn in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us, Rosie. We
Thanks.
appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Jamie. This is so fun.